Shields and swords, field of wars, fighting my blood down to the core. Warriors from medieval age, fear the reign of night brigades. Crusades into the room, moving through the temples and tombs. Scared and placed, prepare to face Professor Awesome and the minions of doom. 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 Professor Awesome and the minions of doom.
Hello, minions. If I know my minions, I know what you really want to do on this Valentine's Day, and that is how to seduce a nerd. And so today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to seduce a nerd by using Geoffrey Chaucer. Now, Geoffrey Chaucer is a guy who we associate with the Canterbury Tales, but I'm not going to talk about the Canterbury Tales today. Canterbury Tales is a great work of literature, so I don't want to dismiss it. But today on Valentine's Day, I want to talk about the poem that Chaucer wrote on the occasion of Valentine's Day, and it's a poem called The Parliament of Fowls. Parliament of Fowls. Fowls is usually spelled F-O-U-L-E-S. You can find this in many, many sources in Middle English and in many different translations online for free. I'm not going to bother setting up a link to all of them because there's just so many of them. Obviously, the work has been in the public domain for over half a millennium now, so there's been plenty of time for people to work on it. So what's the Parliament of Fowls about? There's a dreamer, and he's been up reading. He's particularly reading Cicero's a book about dreams from Cicero. And then he falls asleep, and he dreams of Scipio Africanus, a Roman general who was also famously lecherous, and associated in some ways with dreams. And he goes to the temple. He takes him to the temple of Venus, and he goes through the temple of Venus, and he goes into this kind of, I guess, courtyard area where we find the goddess Nature, and all the birds are pairing off in different ways. And at the end of and essentially you've got some birds who are competing for one particular bird. And so all the different types of birds weigh in on which of these three male birds this female bird should end up with. And in the end, basically she says, do I have to choose now? Can't I wait another year? And Nature says, yeah, you have the free will to wait another year. And then the dreamer wakes up and says, I think I'm going to do some more reading. And that's the short version of the Parliament of Fowls. And in this, we have a lot of the association between Valentine's Day and love. It's a comic book, not to say a graphic novel, but a book of comedy. The debate between the birds is kind of funny. And the birds aren't all noble. I mean, you've got the goose and the duck and the eagles and all these kinds of birds that are debating with one another. The poem's also famous because, it opens with the famous line, the life's so short, the craft's so long to learn, which you may have seen before in other places. And it's one of these ways in which Chaucer has influenced us that we don't normally think about. It's a way in which we start to associate Valentine's Day with love. Also, it strengthens the connection between cuckoos and the word cuckold in it as well. Okay, so what can you do this Valentine's Day? Today is Valentine's Day, and you didn't plan ahead. You don't know what to do, and your lover is a nerd. What can you do? Find yourself a translation of Parliament of Fowls. It's about 700 lines, and sit down with your lover, a quiet place, maybe some soft music, a bottle of wine, and read the Parliament of Fowls to your lover. And in that way, you'll be able to seduce them and also get some fun and delightful classic literature in part of your seduction as well. And the nice thing about it is, in the end, she gets to choose. And this is a very helpful thing for seducing your lover, because you essentially tell them, you don't have to choose now, but don't worry, they'll choose you. Unless, of course, your lover is not a nerd. Maybe your lover's not a nerd. Maybe you think, oh, my lover's a nerd, but what you really mean by that is that they like to cosplay Link from Zelda. But they don't read, they're not interested in books. In which case, I have bad news for you. Your lover is a dork. And you need to do better in the future. So that's it, minions. Don't forget, today, on this Valentine's Day, is a day to seduce nerds and not seduce dorks.